You guys, today we're doing something a little unorthodox in an attempt to save the customer some money. So this unit here had been condemned. Both compressors are bad in the air conditioner. It had a bad heat exchanger. Well, the heat exchanger was replaced in this unit, and it hasn't even been fired up yet. So, however, this unit's either going to get replaced or they're just going to abandon it right now. This unit down here, the air conditioning still works well on, but it has a bad heat exchanger. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to pull the new heat exchanger out of that one and put it in this one. I don't know how the new heat exchanger ended up in that guy there. It probably should have been put in that one to start with. Don't care. We're not going to buy a new heat exchanger for that other one. We're just going to pull it out of this one and move it over there. Like I said, brand new heat exchanger in this one. Hasn't even been fired up yet. New heat exchanger, new collector box. So we're going to get it taken apart and get it moved over. All right, I took this whole side off, basically, the door frame, and then this had to come off with it because there was screws right here I couldn't get to. So that gives us a wide open area right here to pull the heat exchanger out. The heat exchanger will not come out through this opening right here, so that's why you got to take that off. So now we're just going to start disassembling. All right, we broke our union free here, and then that loosen this up so we could unscrew it from the gas valve, or that 90 that comes off the gas valve. Now we're going to take off these screws here, and the whole gas valve and fuel bar will come out. All right, with all that out, now we can make sure everything's disconnected from the burners, and we can take the burners off. Actually, guys, I was thinking, in an attempt to save myself some time, I might leave most of this connected. Draft inducer, burners. I got to take the board out and probably the pressure switch. But I might just pull all this out together and then just put all this in the new one. You know, if the burners look in better shape on the new one, then I'll just use the new burners. But I mean, shit, why take all this apart? All right, so I'm going to take the motor off, or I'm going to take the board off and this wiring and kind of get all this out of the way. And I think that's what we might freaking do, guys. All right, let's get all this disconnected, everything free, and then I'll just undo the board and flip that up here and get that out of the way. All right, so we're gonna take this off. We'll probably take that pressure switch off. We're gonna need to get that out of the way. Okay, I did have to take the draft inducer off because I wouldn't been able to get to these screws up here. So now I'm just gonna take off all the screws. So really, the only thing I was able to leave was the burners, but and this high limit switch, which I might end up changing that out anyway, because that looks pretty cruddy. Well, guys, I had to take the collector box off and burner anyway because there was screws behind there I had to get to. I had to take it all off for this one screw. I'm glad I did anyway, because I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be sealed, this collector box, so we'll put some high temp silicone on there when we put it on the new one. All right, it's just a matter of pulling it all the way out now. All right, we got it out. Like I said, brand new, hasn't been fired. So now we're left with a hole though, but we're going to go start disassembling that guy, which is going to be a whole lot more difficult because that has not been apart recently. And we'll get that one taken apart and get the old heat exchanger out. All right, guys, over here at the other one, basically doing the same process. Looks like my burner off that one is going to be in a little better shape than this one. So we're gonna start busting this one down. Well, I got all the screws out without issue except the bottom two here. This one here and this one here. So I was able to cut a notch in this one with a grinder and get it out. But this one was a little more stubborn, but I was able to beat it up with the grinder and break it. So this heat exchanger is about to come out. Not bad. Typically about 4 or 5 of them want to be stubborn, and they're always along the bottom. Most of the time, all the bottom ones never want to come out. But I was able to get all but 2. So let's pull this the rest of the way out. All right, here is our old heat exchanger. Pretty rough. That's coming through. Plus there's some actual holes right here. Yeah, all that rust came out of it too. Alright, we're gonna try to shove her in upside down right now. This thing is heavier than it looks. It's probably about 80 pounds, honestly. That's 10 tons. Matter of putting all the screws in. All right, this is our collector box. They do make a special gasket that goes around here, but it's basically just a fire caulk gasket. So we're gonna take some fire caulk and put a bead around here. Put it right on. All right, got that on. Kind of the same thing with the draft inducer. You can see, where's our old, on our old collector box there, you can see that gasket there. It's just fire caulk basically, so that's what we're gonna do right here. Just gonna make a little box here so that has a nice seal, just like that. Now our draft inducer will bolt right on. All right guys, we're plugging right along here. So we got our gas valve and fuel bar back on, board back on, pressure switch, everything's back on. I still gotta put the exhaust pipe, gas piping, but plugging right along. Heat exchangers aren't bad to do. It's basically just taking parts off and then putting them back on. As long as you remember where everything goes, it's really not that hard, guys. So, yeah, we're plugging right along. All right, guys, we basically got everything back on now, except the outer cover. So I think I'm gonna do that next so I can have that all done before I fire it up. But yeah, everything's in. Got everything zip tied and tied down. Gas piping's installed. So we're ready to fire this up once I get the cover back on. All right, so before we fire this up, we know whenever you fire up a brand new heat exchanger, it's gonna make smoke, it's gonna burn, it's gonna smell like hell. So what I like to do on a rooftop unit is, for one, I'll keep this open, and then I'll take the panel and I'm gonna ram it underneath the heat exchanger. That way no smoke gets inside the building. Especially a place like this, people, it's an outreach center, homeless center, so there's a lot of people here that are probably on edge anyway. So we're just gonna eliminate that altogether by sliding that all the way in, so all the air is gonna come out this way. See that? So we'll let all the nasty gunky stuff burn off, let it run for 10 minutes or so, then we'll put that panel back on. All right, here we go. Well, it would help if I had the gas on. inducer doesn't sound too sporty. Well, it fired right up. Let's take a look. Yeah, I smell it. The blower must be set to on. Yeah, here comes a little bit of smoke now. There she comes. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's a little bit of smoke blowing out of there. Yeah, smoking on this side too. That draft inducer sounds like shit. So I do have another one, so I might actually swap it out. Yeah, that draft inducer is whining a little bit. I don't know if that one's any better, honestly, but I don't know if it's worth a try or not. Well, I went to put it back the way it was. The air conditioning came on, and then I noticed this. So this motor has chopped the wires of this motor and pulled them out from God knows where. Big mess. Look at that. Good Lord. So we got to try to fix this now. Oh, what a mess. What a mess. This is a very common problem with these York Predator units. Typically they chop their own wires, not the one beside them. Yeah, it looks like it ripped it. Ripped this one right out of there. Don't know if that's still good or not, but I'll find out where these wires are coming from. So they come from this chase. We might gotta pull this panel back off. I don't think we caused that, taking that panel off. No way. Yeah, it's been like that for a little while. The wire, will start to discolor. Here are all three, so I shouldn't have to pull the side off. Connect all three of these and get them over there. I don't think I'm gonna have to get approval to do this. I just have approval to do the heat exchanger right now. And when I heard this one come on earlier, this motor is also bad. Wires are about a couple of cycles away from being chopped up too. Alright, where it ripped the wires out of this motor, I don't know if it's good or not. I'm still going to get a new motor for it. We're going to get a new motor for this one, new motor for that one, and then we'll have to rewire all this. I made the wires safe over there. With it as cool as it is, it probably doesn't need both condenser fans. So yeah, we made them safe, so at least I can still have air conditioning and still run this one condenser fan. Guys, so the unit that I pulled the heat exchanger out of had every intention on being repaired until they found out they had multiple air conditioning issues with this unit also. So they haven't made a decision on it yet, whether they're going to replace it or just keep it abandoned. It services an area that really doesn't get used that often. So they might just keep it abandoned for now, and just have it down. So that heat exchanger was not even used. So that's why we pulled it out of that one. It probably took me 30 minutes to pull that whole thing out of there. Not that big a deal. Really didn't waste that much time, and got to put it over in the new one. So got it all put together. And then once I restored the unit back to what the thermostat was set for, the air conditioning tried to come on. That's when I noticed that the wires were caught in the fan blade. So I got to get new motors for that, get approval to do all that. So we're going to do a motor in that one, rewire it, and then do a motor in the unit that's across from it. Also had a bad condenser fan motor. So we're going to get those motors and go back and do that. But heat exchanger went fine. They got heat in that area now. It works safe. So that's another one done. All right, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one.